The Zalarian Empire ruled the stars for over 1,000 years. With powerful warships, energy weapons, and millions of soldiers, no one dared to stand against them. Entire planets bowed before the Emperor. Alien races who tried to resist were quickly crushed. The Empire believed nothing could stop them. Far on the edge of Zalarian space, a quiet listening post named Z-19 floated near a dark asteroid field. Only a small crew worked. There's just 5 officers and 2 technicians. Their job was boring. Listen for strange signals, watch for smugglers, and report any unknown activity. For 10 years, nothing unusual happened. But one day, the sensors picked up something strange. Lieutenant Varek, young officer with sharp green eyes, was the first to notice it. "Commander Tolan," he said, looking up from his console. "I'm receiving an energy reading. But it's not from any known engine type. It's no warp trail, no grav pulse. It just appeared." Commander Tolan walked over, frowning. "Show me." On the screen, a massive object floated in deep space. It had no engine glow, no blinking lights, just dark metal and a strange shape, long, heavy, and silent. It didn't match any ship in the Empire's records. Could it be a derelict? Someone asked too. "Too stable," Tolan replied. "It's holding perfect position. No drift. That's not normal." Then came the real surprise. The object moved. Slowly, carefully, it turned to face the listening post. For a few seconds, nothing happened. The crew stared at the screen, holding their breath, and then every system in the station went black. "Power failure," shouted a technician. "No, it's not a failure," said Varek, staring in shock. "Our systems were shut down." From the outside, emergency lights blinked on. Backup power returned after 10 seconds. When the main screen rebooted, the object was gone. The crew sat in silence. Everyone felt the same thing, fear. Commander Tolan gave the order at once. "Send a coded report to command. Level 9 priority. You may have just seen something. Impossible." At the Imperial Navy Command Tower on Zeller Prime, Admiral Gregson reviewed the report from Z-19 with narrowed eyes. He was old, proud, and trusted by the Emperor himself. Most reports from border posts were boring, but this one was different. "No warp signature?" he repeated. "No energy trails?" "Yes, Admiral," said his aide. "The stations." "Systems were disabled remotely. Instantly. Send a scout squadron. I want eyes on that location. Now."
Ow.
4 scout ships were dispatched. Fast and stealthy, they reached the area within hours. What they found was silence. No object. No signal. No clue, but before they could report back one by one, their signals vanished. All 4 ships dashed gone. No explosions. No calls for help. No debris. Admiral Gregson stood from his chair, face pale. This is not normal." He ordered a full fleet to be sent. At the same time, rumors started to spread across the Empire. People spoke in whispers about a ghost ship, a phantom from deep space. Some said it was a weapon made by old enemies. Others believed it was a myth. But in the shadows of the stars, the unknown ship waited. It did not move. It did not speak. It only watched high above the world of Xerix. Fleet Captain Harnock led 20 ships in a search mission. His orders were clear: locate the mysterious object and destroy it if possible. "This will be simple," Harnock said to his crew. "One strange ship against us? It won't last 5 seconds." The fleet reached the coordinates where the scouts vanished. At first, space seemed empty. Stars blinked calmly. There's no enemy in sight. Then it appeared, without warning. The object re-entered. "Sensor range." "Impossible," whispered Harnock. "No ship can hide from our scans like that," gave the attack order. Dozens of missiles launched. Beams of energy lit up the void, and nothing hit. The unknown ship vanished again before, as the weapons reached it suddenly. Their own ships began to fail. One engine after another died. One ship exploded. Another was sliced in half by an invisible 4 in seconds. 10 ships were gone. The unknown ship never fired a visible weapon. It didn't speak. It didn't run. It just destroyed. Captain Harnock tried to retreat, but his ship froze. Lights dimmed. His crew screamed as the screens showed a message written in perfect Zalarian language. You fired first? We are human. Then everything went black. Only one scout probe survived, recording the entire event from far away. It returned to the Empire's capital with the footage. When the Emperor saw it, his face grew cold. Humans, he asked. They are extinct. Gone for over 5,000 years. But the message was clear. Humans were back, and they had power that defied reason. In the days that followed, Empire tried to hide the news, but whispers grew louder. People feared the return of a race long thought dead, a race known in history as strong, smart, and terrifying in war. The unknown ship did not leave. It stayed near the same region of space, waiting silently. More ships were sent and more were lost. It became clear this was not just a ghost ship. It was a warship, and it belonged to humanity. The Zalarian Empire, it's proud and feared for centuries, now faced something it could not understand, and worse, it could not stop. To be continued. The Zalarian Empire had never lost a battle in 500 years. Their fleets were large, their weapons advanced, and their enemies always fell quickly. But now, something had changed. A single ship, silent, unknown, and unstoppable, had destroyed scout teams and patrols without warning. It moved like no ship the Empire had ever seen. It used no known weapons, and yet it won every time. It called itself human. The High Command held an emergency meeting in the Emperor's private chamber. Holograms of admirals, generals, and scientists filled the room. This cannot be real, said General Fracos. Humans are myths, ancient history. This must be a trick. Admiral Gregson shook his head. We have recordings, clear ones. Our ships were not destroyed by any weapon we understand. This warship, it doesn't use warp. It appears and disappears. It turns off our systems without even touching us. The Emperor stood, his voice calm but cold. My Empire does not. Fear ghosts. Send the Third Fleet. 500 warships. I want this human ship found and broken. The admirals bowed. The order was final. The Third Fleet gathered near the planet Delmora. The fleet was proud and powerful, led by Admiral Korvik, a veteran of many wars. His ships were armed with plasma cannons, grav bombs, and shield breakers. No enemy had ever survived their full attack. Admiral Korvik stood tall on the bridge of his flagship. Vengeance flame. Remember this day, he said to his officers. Today, we remove this threat from our space. An old ship against 500, we will crush it. They jumped into deep space, right to the last known location of the human ship. For a few minutes, everything was quiet. The stars blinked in the dark sky, and without warning it appeared. One ship had floated calmly in front of the fleet. It's not moving, reported a sensor officer. No energy buildup. No signal. It's just there. Korvik grinned. Good luck, all. Weapons. Fire everything. 500 ships unleashed their power. Thousands of missiles. Waves of energy. Explosions lit the dark. And when the light faded, the ship, still there. Not a scratch. The fleet scanners were confused. No shield readings. No damage. It was like the human ship had simply ignored the attack then. It moved. It did not charge. It did not shoot. It blinked. It linked. It disappeared and reappeared just behind the center of the fleet. And that's when the true horror began. One by one, Imperial ships started to explode not from the outside but from within. Power cores went critical. AI systems locked the crew out. Oxygen shut off. It was as if the ships were turning against their own crews. Korvik watched in shock as 3 ships near him shattered into pieces. What is happening? He shouted. The human ship finally spoke, across every screen, every channel, and even inside the ship's walls. A calm voice, speaking perfect Zalarian language. We did not come for war. You chose this. We warned you. Korvik tried to speak back, but the systems refused to answer. He gave the retreat order. Ships tried to flee, but many could not. Engines failed. Systems froze. Only 83 ships managed to escape. 417 ships of the Empire were gone in under 5 minutes. One human ship remained, floating in silence. News of the defeat spread quickly. The Emperor was furious, but also afraid. He had never faced such power. People across the Empire whispered stories of the ghost ship that destroyed fleets without firing a shot. Some believed it was a weapon of the gods. Others said it was punishment for the Empire's cruelty over the years, in secret. The Emperor met with his most trusted scientist, Dr. Nellis. "What are humans?" the Emperor asked. Dr. Nellis brought out old files and ancient records. It's from over 5,000 years ago. They were from a world called Earth, he said. A harsh, deadly planet. It's full of storms, volcanoes, and predators. But the humans survived. They adapted, they built machines, cities, and finally, starships. Then, they disappeared. Why? The Emperor asked. No one knows, Nellis replied. Some think they left this galaxy. Others say they went into hiding after a great war. But clearly they are not gone. Their technology is beyond anything we have. The Emperor looked out at the stars. Then we must prepare. If there is one ship, there may be more. Meanwhile, far from Zalarian space, in a quiet command center deep inside the human warship, Captain Raina Cole watched the galaxy spin across her screen. She was calm, focused. Her crew, only 20 in number, were handpicked. All from Earth. All trained for this mission. Enemy fleet status? She asked. Destroyed, her officer replied. Partial survivors returned to their capital? Raina nodded in response. They'll send more, she smiled. Let them. One young officer looked confused. Captain, why don't we just destroy their capital? We can end it all now. Raina shook her head. That's not our mission. Earth doesn't start wars, but we always finish them. We gave them a warning. Now we wait. Back on Zeller Prime, fear ruled the streets. Citizens demanded answers. And some even begged the government to surrender to the humans before more destruction came. The Emperor called for full war preparation. Every ship was to be upgraded. Every planet was to build new defenses. The Empire had faced rebellion, pirates, and alien threats. But never this. Never a ghost from the past. Never humanity in the final hours of the day. A strange event occurred. The skies above 3 major Imperial worlds lit up. No sound, just light. A message was burned into the sky itself. It read, Earth remembers. Do you? The people of the Empire stared in silence. No one knew what would happen next. But they all understood one thing. The humans were back, and they were not afraid. The destruction of the Third Fleet had shaken the entire Zalarian Empire. Never before had so many ships been lost in one battle. What made it worse? And one enemy ship had done it. People across the Empire lived in fear. Some cities on outer planets even shut down their spaceports. Rumors spread faster than light. The humans have returned. Their warship is a ghost. Can't fight what you can't see. But the Emperor did not accept defeat. He was angry. Very angry. In the great palace on Zeller Prime, the Emperor slammed his fist on the crystal war table. No more games. He said, no more waiting. We will strike with all our strength. Admirals, generals, and scientists stood around him. Some looked worried. Others kept silent. I want the first Imperial Armada launched, the Emperor ordered. Every battleship, every station weapon, every prototype. We destroy that human warship now. The first Imperial Armada was the pride of the Empire. 3,000 warships, 15 dreadnoughts, 20 planet-killer cannons, and automated fighter swarms. It had never been used in full force before. Now it would be. The Empire also activated its battle moons, massive artificial moons built for one purpose: war. Each moon had enough firepower to destroy a planet, the target, the last known position of the human warship, far in space. The human ship still waited. Captain Raina Cole stood at the center of the command deck. Round her, the crew worked quietly. There. Coming, said Lieutenant Sora, looking at the data stream. A full armada, Bigger than anything we've seen so far? Reyna nodded. Let them come. Another officer looked nervous. Captain, are we going to run? Reyna gave a calm smile. We don't run. We observe. We learn. And if needed, we respond. Hey. The human ship powered up. Its systems glowed, softly, not bright or loud, but deep and strong. Then it disappeared. Again, the first Imperial Armada arrived near the dead planet Veradon where the last battle had taken place. The sky was filled with ships. It looked like a wall of steel stretching across space. Admiral Trakan, the supreme commander of the Armada, stood on the bridge of his dreadnought, Obsidian Storm. Scan the area, he ordered. The sensors picked up nothing. Then, just as before, the human ship appeared. Only this time, didn't wait. It moved straight toward the fleet. Fire all weapons, shouted Admiral Trakan. Thousands of lasers, missiles, and bombs raced through the void. But the human ship was faster. It blinked again, not moved. Dash blinked. It vanished, then reappeared inside the heart of the fleet. 10 ships exploded at once. Another 20 lost. Powered drones crashed into each other. Systems went dark. Entire squadrons stopped mid-flight. How is this possible? Cried a commander. Then the human ship spoke again. Across every screen, speaker, and even inside helmets. You were warned. You chose war. You will now see our strength. Suddenly, bright lights rose from the human ship. Not weapons, but data. Streams of code flooded the Empire's systems. Artificial intelligence cores failed. Targeting systems reversed. Some Empire ships even turned against their own. One dreadnought aimed at another and fired. Confusion turned into chaos. The battle moons tried to charge their main cannons but exploded before they could finish. From a distance, it looked like the Empire was destroying itself. But in truth, the human ship was using electronic warfare beyond anything the galaxy had ever known. Admiral Trakan gave the retreat command, but less than half the Armada escaped. The rest, gone, and the human ship, still untouched. Back on Zeller Prime, the Emperor watched the disaster. Unfold in silence, he said nothing. He just turned and left the command chamber. The loss of the Armada meant one thing: the Empire could not win. Across the capital, silence spread. No speeches were given, no orders were shouted. Everyone knew the Zellarian Empire, once the strongest power in the galaxy, had just been defeated by a single human ship. Deep under the Emperor's palace, a secret council met in the vaults of the Grand Archive. Only a few people were allowed in. Top scientists, the Emperor's oldest advisors, and fleet historian Lorek. Lorek opened a dusty file. It was over 5,000 years old. This file was sealed by the first Emperor, he said. It tells of the humans. Long ago, they explored the stars. They were not part of our empire. In fact, they avoided it. They formed something else, something called the Earth's Confederation. Why haven't we heard of this before? Scientists asked. Because they erased themselves, Lorek replied. On purpose. After a great galactic war they chose to disappear. They said, we'll return only when the stars call us again. Now, they had returned, and no one could stop them. Meanwhile, Captain Reyna Cole watched the data from the destroyed fleet. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. They keep testing us, she said, even after 2 warnings. Lieutenant Sora looked up. Do we send another message? Reyna nodded. Yes, but not just words. This time we show them history. She activated a broadcast. A simple message. Played across the entire empire once your empire enslaved 100 worlds. You broke treaties. You silenced voices. You called it order. But now humanity has returned. Not to conquer, but to remind. You are not alone. You are not untouchable. And we remember everything. With that, the ship disappeared again. No one knew where it went, but every world in the Empire received a file. Inside it was a copy of the war logs of Earth records of the Old War, where humanity defeated 3 ancient galactic powers. Alone, it ended with one line: Earth never starts the war, but we always end it. Across the galaxy, people began to talk, not in fear, but with hope. Some species under the Empire's control began to rise. A few rebel cells started to move again. The idea of resistance returned, because now they believed something powerful was watching over them, something that could stand against the Empire, something called humanity. In just a few days, the great Zalarian Empire had lost more ships than it had in centuries. The mighty First Imperial Armada, once believed to be unbeatable, was destroyed by a single human warship. No one in the Empire could believe it. The evidence was clear. The people were no longer proud. They were afraid. On colony worlds, statues of the Emperor were quietly taken down. On trade planets, citizens spoke in low voices about the return of the humans. And on fringe worlds, small groups began to resist imperial rule again. For the first time in years, hope had returned. Inside the imperial palace, silence ruled the throne room. The Emperor sat still, his golden armor shining dimly in the soft light. Around him, advisors whispered nervously.
No one dared speak loudly.
They all knew that the Empire's strength had been broken. A scientist named Dr. Nellas stepped forward.
We've
studied the human warship, he said. Its technology is far beyond ours. It doesn't use normal engines. It doesn't show up on scanners. Its weapons are not visible, but they are real. Can control systems, shut down ships, and even change code in our most secure computers? The Emperor clenched his fist. How is that possible? Dr. Nellis hesitated, then answered, because they left us behind. Humans stopped fighting long ago, but they didn't stop growing. While we built bigger ships, they built smarter ones. Another advisor, Minister Reichel, spoke up. Then we must talk to them, ask for peace. If we keep fighting, we will lose everything. The Emperor's face was hard, and admit we are weak. Better weak than gone, the minister replied. A long silence followed. Then the Emperor stood. Find them. Send a message. Say we are ready to speak. Far from the imperial capital, the human warship floated in deep space. Captain Raina Cole stood quietly on the observation deck. The stars were bright, peaceful, but her mind was focused. Lieutenant Sora walked in. Captain, we received something. Raina turned. Another threat? No, a request. The Empire wants to talk. Raina raised an eyebrow. Interesting. They sent it using their oldest signal protocol, one used in the time of peace, not war. Raina nodded slowly. So they finally understand. A special meeting was arranged near a neutral system. No weapons, no tricks. A small Imperial cruiser arrived. Inside was Admiral Coral, an older officer with calm eyes and steady hands. He had served the Empire for 60 years and had seen many wars, but never anything like this. The human ship didn't send a diplomat. Instead, they sent Captain Raina Cole herself. The meeting took place on a small space station. The air was still. The room was plain. No guards, just 2 leaders. Admiral Coral spoke first. You surprised us, Captain. Raina smiled slightly. That was the point. Coral looked tired. Why return now? Why attack? We didn't attack first, Raina said. You sent scouts, then fleets, then armadas. We defended ourselves. But we warned you before each strike. Coral nodded. That's true. But people are scared. Our systems are breaking apart. They should be, Raina replied. Fear can open the path to truth. The Admiral sat quietly. Then he said, I've read the Earth war logs. I saw what your kind did 5,000 years ago. You ended 3 empires, then vanished. Raina looked out the window. We left. Because we didn't want to become like them, but we watched. We waited. When the cries of the weak became too loud, Earth returned. Coral understood. He came back because the Empire crossed the line. Yes, Raina said. We came back because your Empire forgot that power should protect, not control. The Admiral stood. What happens now? That depends on your Emperor, she replied. Soon after the meeting, the Emperor received a second message from the human ship. This time it wasn't a threat. It was a choice. Your Empire can continue on the path of war and fall. It It can choose peace and rise again differently. Earth will not conquer you. We don't want your worlds. We want justice, balance, and freedom for those you have ruled for too long. The Emperor sat in silence after reading the message. For hours he remembered the past, how he rose to power through fear, how he built fleets, crushed rebellions, and silenced voices. But now he faced something he could not fight. Truth back. In the galaxy, things were changing fast. On the planet Thyros, a former rebel leader named Yalun saw the human message. He stood in front of thousands of people and raised his voice. "Look what one ship did to the Empire," he shouted. "One ship. Imagine what we can do if we stand together." People cheered. On other worlds, local governors stopped following imperial orders. On mining planets, workers stopped sending resources to the capital. On science colonies, researchers started sharing hidden files with Earth's network. The galaxy was waking up. The name human no longer brought fear, it brought hope on the human warship. Captain Reyna Cole stood before her crew. "We gave them a choice," she said. "Now we wait. No more attacks. No more strikes. Earth is not a destroyer. We are a reminder. A warning. A guide." One young officer asked, "Captain, what if they choose war again?" Reyna looked at him and said, "Softly, then we remind them what Earth can do." Everyone nodded. A few days later, the Emperor made his choice. A message was sent across all systems, public and clear. The Empire will change. From this moment forward, we choose peace. All oppressed worlds are free to govern themselves. All war actions are stopped. Earth has reminded us who we once were, and what we can become again. People across the stars wept, cheered, celebrated. The war was over, not because the enemy was destroyed, but because the truth had won. The truth that humans had carried for centuries. The truth that power is not about control, it's about protection. And finally, after thousands of years, the galaxy was ready to listen. The galaxy had changed. The Zalarian Empire, once proud and feared, had chosen peace. Not because of another empire or a giant army, but because of one warship. A human warship. Ship that arrived without warning, spoke with calm words, and left. The galaxy shaking, but the war was not the real victory. The real change came after Captain Reyna Cole sat in the command chair of the human warship. Around her, the crew moved quietly. The ship floated near a small blue star, its lights soft and peaceful. There were no enemy ships nearby, no alarms, just calm. Lieutenant Sora stepped forward. "Captain, the Empire's new order has reached all systems. Independent governments are forming. Trade routes are opening. The old control system is falling apart." Reyna nodded, and the people, they're celebrating. Some are scared, but many are finally free. Reyna looked out the wide screen, her eyes deep in thought. "Then Earth's mission is complete," she said softly. Back on Zeller Prime, the Emperor stood before a quiet crowd. No throne, no golden armor, just simple robes and a tired voice. "Was wrong," he said. "We thought fear kept order. But fear only hides the truth. Earth reminded us of that truth. Today I step down as Emperor, and I ask all worlds build something better than what I gave you." It was not a loud speech, but it spread faster than fire. All across the Empire, change moved like a rising tide. On the planet Narthis, where mines once worked slaves, the chains were broken. The miners voted for their own leaders for the first time in 100 years. On the world of Zydron, scientists who had hidden their inventions from the Empire now shared them freely with humans and others. And on small worlds forgotten by the Empire, ships with Earth's peaceful signal landed. They didn't bring soldiers. They brought teachers, doctors, and engineers. People wept when they saw the human flags, not out of fear, but from hope. Captain Reyna's ship received a final message from Earth. Mission complete. The Empire has stepped back. The galaxy has awakened. You may return. But Reyna didn't answer right away. Instead, she called a meeting with her crew. "I know our mission is done," she said. But the work is not. There are still worlds. In pain, still systems with old wounds. She looked around the room. We can go home, or we can stay a little longer and help. One by one, the crew nodded. They would stay, not as soldiers, but as guides, far from any star system. Deep in the dark of space, a secret fleet watched. They were not part of the Empire. They had stayed hidden for years. Watching, waiting. They had seen what the human ship did, and they were afraid. We must prepare, said their leader. Today, it is one human ship. Tomorrow, it could be 10, or 100. Should we attack now? Asked a younger officer. No, said the leader. We learn, we wait. But when Earth sends more, we must be ready. They didn't understand Earth yet, but they would try, because they knew one thing. When giants wake, the stars tremble. Back in open space, Captain Reyna's ship entered a new system. A small world called Drellin had sent a signal, a peaceful one. The people there had overthrown their imperial leader, but they didn't know how to govern. They asked for help. Reyna agreed. When her ship arrived, the people welcomed her like a hero, but Reyna stepped off her ship without weapons. Just a smile and open hands. We are not here to rule, she said. We are here to listen. The people listened to in a few days. The first council of Drellin was formed with both humans and locals sitting side by side. It was a new beginning. Across the galaxy, Earth ships small and few started, appearing more often. They never attacked. They never forced. But wherever they went, things changed. Old fears faded. New ideas grew. And always the message was the same. Earth does not want power. We want balance. We want peace. But we will never run from danger. We remember who we are. And the galaxy remembered. Too, they remembered the warship that came from nowhere. The one that broke fleets without a single battle cry. The one that spoke softly, but carried power beyond belief. In time, the Zalarian Empire became something else. Not an empire, but a union. A group of free worlds, each choosing their own future. Each remembering the lesson Earth taught them. And in a museum on Zeller Prime, they placed a simple message on a stone wall. When power becomes kindness, the stars shine brighter. Years later, a child on a distant world asked her teacher, "Were the humans really that strong?" The teacher smiled. "Yes, but that's not what made them special." "Then what did?" "They didn't use their power to conquer. They used it to protect. That's what made them different." The child thought for a while. "Will they come back?" The teacher looked at the sky. "Maybe, if we need them." And high above, somewhere in the stars, a single ship watched quietly, still guarding, still waiting, because Earth never forgets.